श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। Hare Nishing अभय चरण अरविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर स्वतः श्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर स्वतः श्री शिल गौर किशोर दास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। श्री शिल भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। श्री श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव बिंदु की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्री श्री गोपाल कोई सेक्टर
तुलसी महारानी की जय। देवी की जय। साक्षी देवी की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद गौर प्रेमानंदी all glories to somebody all glories to somebody all glories to somebody all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय श्रीला प्रपाद की जय। हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Welcome back to our regular Saturday program. Thanks for coming. So today we see very less crowd because there are some other programs going on, like Deliver Devotees, they didn't come. Some other program there, really. And a couple of devotees, they are taking exams, so they are not available. But anyways, it's good to see you all after a big festival last week. So you all recovered from that? Was nice?
Yeah. Very nice. Yes.
Thank you. It was just a team effort. It was very nice. Thank you. So today we'll hear from His Grace Shyam Kumar Prabhu. You all know Shyam Kumar Prabhu, right? No, he doesn't know, and online people, they don't know. Let me introduce him. Shyam Kumar Prabhu is an exalted devotee, a disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. He's been practicing Krishna consciousness for more than 2 decades. In the year 2014, sorry, what year, Prabhu? 2012. So 2012 he got initiated from His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj in Gita Nagari. So at the same time my wife also got initiated. So, and he has been playing various roles at the temple, ISKCON Philadelphia. Even as of today, he is very actively participating in all the events there. But before, he was a role model for Sunday feast cooking, organizing festivals, and then giving lectures. Also, he was one of the board of directors at ISKCON Philadelphia. He was vice president at ISKCON Philadelphia. So he played various hats and very diligently he tried to manage things. So today we'll hear Srimad Bhagavatam from him, chapter, canto.
Chapter 1, chapter 4, and second.
Okay, 1.4.2. So please open up your mobiles, vedabase.io. Go to first canto, fourth chapter, second verse. Thank you. Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayamudiraye
Tato Jayamudhiraye
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati Uttama Sloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki
Nama Sankirtanam Yasya
Nama Sankirtanam Yasya
Sarva Papa Pranashanam
Sarva Papa Pranashanam
Pranamo Dukkha Shamanaha
Pranamo Dukkha Shamanaha
Tam Namami Harim Param
Tam Namami Harim Param
Nama Sankirtanam Yasya
Nama Sankirtanam Yasya
Sarva Papa Pranashanam
Sarva Papa Pranashanam
Pranamo Dukkha Shamanaha
Pranamo Dukkha Shamanaha
Tam Namami Harim Param
Tam Namami Harim Param
Nama Sankirtanam Sankirtanam Yasya
Nama Sankirtanam Yasya
Sarva Papa Pranashanam
Sarva Papa Pranashanam
Pranamo Dukha Shamanaha
Pranamo Dukkha Shamanaha
Tam Namami Harim Param
Tam Namami Harim Param.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, fourth chapter, text number 2. Please repeat. Shaunaka Vacha
Shaunaka Uvacha
Suta Suta Mahabhaga
Suta Suta Mahabhaga
Vadano Vadatambara
Vadano Vadatambara
Katham Bhagavatim Punyam
Katham Bhagavati Punyam
Yadaha Bhagavan Shukaha
Yadaha Bhagavan Shukaha
Shaunaka Vacha
Shaunaka Uvacha
Suta Suta Mahabhaga
Suta Suta Mahabhaga
Vadano Vadatambara Katham Bhagavatim Punyam Yadaha Bhagavan Chukaha Shaunaka Vacha Suta Suta Mahabhaga Vadano Vadatambara Katham Bhagavatim Punyam Yadaha Bhagavan Chukaha. Even one stupid. Shaunaka Vacha Suta Suta Mahabhaga
Vadano Vadatambara Katham Bhagavati Punyam Yadaha Bhagavan Chukaha.
Translation. Shaunaka said, O Suta Goswami, you are the most fortunate and respected of all those who can speak and recite. Please relate the pious message of Srimad Bhagavatam, which was spoken by the great and powerful sage Shukadeva Goswami. Purport by His Divine Grace, His Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Suta Goswami is twice addressed herein by Shaunaka Goswami, are of great joy because he and the members of the assembly were eager to hear the text of Bhagavatam uttered by Shukadeva Goswami. They were not interested in hearing it from a bogus person who would interpret in his own way to suit his own purpose. Generally, the so-called Bhagavatam reciters are either professional readers or so-called learned impersonalists who cannot enter into the transcendental personal activities of the Supreme Person. Such impersonalists twist some meanings out of Bhagavatam to suit and support impersonalist views. And the professional readers at once go to the 10th canto to mis-explain the most confidential part of the Lord's pastimes. Neither of these reciters are bona fide persons to recite Bhagavatam. Only one who is prepared to present Bhagavatam in the light of Sukadeva Goswami, and only those who are prepared to hear Shukadeva Goswami and his representative are bona fide participants in the transcendental discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Agnanatirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavan Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna. So thanks again for coming today. So we are in the fourth chapter, first canto, verse number 2. So last week we started about the context. Now, first chapter, Suta Goswami arrived in Naimisharanya, and all the sages assembled, headed by Shaunaka Muni, they welcomed, they glorified Suta Goswami, and they asked him 6 questions. Second and third chapter, Suta Goswami answered those 6 questions, and in the end, he established Krishna as the source of all incarnations. Now, the end of the third chapter, Suta Goswami said, now that Krishna has gone back, Krishna Swadama Upagate. Now that he has gone back, Dharma Gnanadibi Saha. So when he went back, Krishna says, I come here to establish Dharma, Dharma Samsthapanarthaya. So now he has gone back, so Dharma also went, right? But then for Kali Yuga, something else has taken that position of Krishna. And what is it? Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam. This Purana, that Bhagavatam, what is it? Brahma Samhitam. It is same as Krishna. It is literary incarnation of Krishna, right? So this Srimad Bhagavatam, it says Adhuna Arka Uditaha. Just like a sun has appeared. Krishna left, there is darkness. Why? Because there is again adharma that is going to come in about. But then, as long as Bhagavatam exists, as long as we take shelter of Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam is same as Krishna. That is why Bhagavatam is actually described as like sun, Arka Uditaha, right? So Sukadeva Goswami spoke this to to Parikshit Maharaj. So Suta Goswami is saying, I was present there. And then the same Bhagavatam, he says, Aham Shrava Ishyami. Suta Goswami is saying, the same Bhagavatam, I'm going to make you hear. That is the last end of the last chapter. Now, Shaunaka Goswami is all excited because they want to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Why? Because Shaunaka Goswami understands the real importance of Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is what we have to understand. What is Srimad Bhagavatam? How important it is for us devotees, right? So Shaunaka Goswami is the Kulapati of this Naimisharanya place, right? He is the head of all these rishis that are there, and he's very knowledgeable, very learned. But the moment he heard Suta Goswami was going to speak Bhagavatam, he was all excited. That is why here it is said, Suta Suta Mahabhagam. So he's saying, he's excited, he's saying Suta Goswami as Mahabhaga, most fortunate. Why? Because Yadaha Bhagavan Shukaha. Suta Goswami was present when Shukadeva Goswami spoke Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. So, Shaunaka Goswami is addressing Shukadeva Goswami as Bhagavan. So, Bhagavan, we shouldn't confuse it with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Srimad Bhagavatam, many times, great personalities are addressed as Bhagavan to show us the importance that they carry, right? Now, Shukadeva Goswami is so elevated and exalted because he could narrate, he could speak Srimad Bhagavatam. Even though it was compiled by Vyasadeva, he gave it to Shukadeva Goswami. And because Shukadeva Goswami was compassionate, to us human beings in Kali Yuga, it says Shukamukad Amruta Dravya Samyutam. So this came from Shukamukad. By assimilating Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadev Goswami gave it in a format that actually is beneficial to us, right? That is why Shaunaka Goswami is saying Shukadev Goswami, addressing Shukadev Goswami as Bhagavan, right? Now, why he is addressing him as Bhagavan? It's because Kata Bhagavatim Punyam, right? Why? Suta Goswami is Mahabhaga. He is great personality. He is really fortunate. Why? Because he heard Shukadev Goswami speak Bhagavatam, right? And this Bhagavatam Katha is so important, right? Now this is what we have to understand. Let's to discuss in this class. What is there in Bhagavatam? Why it is important, and why Shaunaka Goswami is saying Katham Bhagavatim Punyam. So this Srimad Bhagavatam, this actually what importance it has for us, right? What impact Srimad Bhagavatam can have on us. So Srimad Bhagavatam contains what we already know. It is said Uttama Shloka Charitam. Contains activities of Uttama Shloka, of Krishna, right? Now, in order to understand how the katha that is given in Srimad Bhagavatam, the contents of Srimad Bhagavatam, we can use. We have to again step back and go to the basics. The basics is what? We are here in the human form. We are not this body, we are spirit soul, right? Now we are here for a purpose. Now we have to understand what that purpose is, right? And without scriptures, without Guru, we cannot understand that purpose. And that is what Srimad Bhagavatam is giving. Srimad Bhagavatam gives us information about what is our purpose. So what is our purpose? We have to understand who we are. In order to understand who we are, we also have to understand, is there something beyond us, right? So who is that beyond us, something beyond us? That we have to understand. So that information Srimad Bhagavatam is giving. So Bhagavatam gives us three things mainly. One is Sambandha Gnana, which is who we are, who the Supreme Person is, and how we are related to Supreme Person, right? Sambandha, what Sambandha we have, what relationship we have. Then Abhideya. Once we understand who we are, who the Supreme Lord is, and what our relationship is, how we use that information, that knowledge, that is Abhideya Gnana. That is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam establishes Sambandha Gnana, Abhideya Gnana. Then finally, Prayojana, third thing, right? What is the Prayojana? What is the benefit we can derive out of the Sambandha Gnana, the Abhideya? So all these three are established by Srimad Bhagavatam. So what is the Sambandha Gnana? The first shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam. It starts with what? Janmadi Asya Yataha. Who is Supreme Lord? Supreme Lord is the one who is the source of everything. So that we have to understand. And entire Srimad Bhagavatam, all the katha, what does that tell us? That establishes the supremacy of the Supreme Lord. Whether it is Pandavas, whether it is Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, Amrish Maharaj, Gopis, right? What is it? What is the base truth that gets revealed? That Krishna is the Supreme. So Sambandha Gnana. Then Abhideya means now I have understood Krishna is Supreme. How I want to take benefit of that supremacy? How do I act in that relationship? Right? Supreme Krishna is Supreme, right? Like I was telling last week, couple of weeks back, there was one devotee. He told his uncle after joining ISKCON, he told his uncle about Krishna, that how great Lord is, and how he is supreme, how he is the proprietor of everything, how he is the controller of everything. And then this person said, yeah, I believe in God, and he is happy in the spiritual world, and I am happy here, so I don't need to bother about the Lord, right? So then, what is the meaning of understanding Krishna as God, right? So if we understand that, Abhideya tells us how we should act in that relationship, right? That is given by Srimad Bhagavatam. Why? Every devotee, if you take his relationship with Krishna, his interactions with Krishna, the way he wants Krishna to reciprocate, he reciprocates with Krishna, right? This gives us the Abhideya Gnana, right? How we should act with Krishna, whether it is Dhruva Maharaj, who could not actually speak when he saw Krishna appear in front of him. Supreme Lord, when Dhruva Maharaj at the end of 6 months of his tapasya, Supreme Lord stood in front of him. But Dhruva Maharaj couldn't even open his mouth, right? Then what happened? Krishna took the shank and then touched it to his temple. So then Dhruva Maharaj started speaking, right? What did Dhruva Maharaj say? He says, Yo anta pravishya mama vachamimam prasuptam sanjivayati. He says, you're one who makes me actually speak whatever I have to speak. See, that is what we learn. How do we speak to Supreme Lord? What do we ask Him? How do we pray to Him? How do we glorify Him? So that is Abhideyagna, right? Prayojana. So we saw last week also, right? Shukdev Goswami spoke Srimad Bhagavatam. Parikshit Maharaj heard Srimad Bhagavatam. So the speaker is liberated. What happens to Parikshit Maharaj? Bheje Kagendra Dvaja Palamulam. So end of Srimad Bhagavatam, Prayojana is what? If we establish ourselves in that mood of being the servant of the Supreme Lord, which is what Bhagavatam is training us, what happens to us? Bheje, we get sent to Kagendra Dvaja Padamulam. Kagendra Dvaja Pada. Supreme Lord is Kagendra Dvaja. We have to go back to his Padamulam. So that is the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So all these things are given in Srimad Bhagavatam, especially in Kali Yuga. We saw Srimad Sutta Goswami say in the previous in the previous chapter also. He says how Kalau Nasta Drusham. We are in Kali Yuga. Our drishti, our vision, it says Nashta Drisham. We've lost our vision. Not the vision that we have to see, but the vision that actually makes our purpose succeed. That we are not this body, but we are the spirit soul. See? That Nashta Drisham, who has lost that vision, this sun that has risen in the form of Bhagavatam, that restores it, right? So that is why this Katham Bhagavati, this is important. And that's why Shaunaka Goswami is saying, Sutta Goswami to say, please speak this, right? Now, it says, Katham Bhagavatim Punyam. It says, this Bhagavatam that contains glorious activities of the Supreme Lord. It says it's pious, Punya. Prabhupada translates this as Punyam also, right? Now, we understand Papa and Punya, right? Now, what is Punya? Punya is we all have to act. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtat akarmakrit. So, not even for a single second, a moment, when we have taken birth, not only for us, for everything, whether it's animals, trees, or everything, jatu tishtati akarmakrit. They cannot stay without acting. Without karma, they cannot stay. Karyate hi avasha karma sarvai prakritir jairgunai. We are all bound to act. So there are three states that we have. One is Jagrat, that we are all awake, right? If we are not awake, we are sleeping, Sushupti. If you are not awake, not sleeping, there is one other state. What is it called? Swapna, dreaming state. So only these three states we have. There is also a Turiya, fourth state, which is only like when we reach the transcendental platform, we actually transcend all these states. This is the state of Samadhi, right? Now, considering these status, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, right? In all these states, we are acting, right? There is karma that is happening. The karma that happens is through what? Kaya, Vacha, Manasa. This is how the karma happens with us, right? We act through body, karma happens, right? Kaya. Now, Vacha, when we speak, the karma happens, right? Manasa, or through the mind. For example, when we are Jagrat, we are doing actions, Kaya, Vacha, Manasa, right? But when we are doing Swapna, we are in dreaming state, right? Our body are in the Sushupti, are in deep sleep state. Then what happens? Our body is still acting. Our organs are working, the breathing is going on, the karma is happening. It's possible that you breathed in, a lot of germs, without your knowledge, you're killing germs, right? Karma is happening, right? Now, we cannot stay without karma, and this karma is broadly categorized into two. One is punya karma, the other one is papa karma. That we know. What is punya karma? If we act according to dharma, act according to the scriptural injunctions, the rules set up by scriptural injunctions, we get some positive benefits, right? So punya karma comes. From that punya karma, what happens? Sukha, right? We get to enjoy, we get to reap the benefits. Now the second category is papa karma, which is going against the scriptural injunctions, whether the illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, gambling. Prabhupada gave us a summary of all this, right? Then what happens? Papa karma we accumulate, right, through our actions. Now this papa karma means dukkha. We have to suffer, right? This is where Adi Bhautika, Adi Atmika, and Adi which one? Daivika. So these kleshas come, these dukkhas come, we get affected, right? Now, the punya that is that's being talked about here, when it says Katham Bhagavatim Punya, this Bhagavatam, when we hear, when we recite, we get punya. That punya is not this benefit, the spiritual benefits that we, the material benefits that we get. For example, if we do punya, Bhagavad Gita itself says, Vedeshu Yagneshu Tapassu Chaiva Daneshu Yat Punya Phalam Pradishtam. So how do we get punya? We can do what's given in Vedas. By giving, whatever is given in Vedas, we can perform yajna, we get punya, right? We do so many yajnas that we can get punya for, right? Then tapa. Tapa also gives us punya. Tapas could be Ekadashi, fasting. That is tapas. Getting up early in the morning, that is tapas. It gives us punya, right? Or dana. We give something, to the temple, something to those that actually are, in spiritual path. All this gets us punya, right? Now, this punya doesn't take us back to our goal of going to God, right? So Bhagavatam, hearing Bhagavatam, or associating with Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing or speaking, the punya that comes, that doesn't take us back to Supreme Lord. We have to understand what this punya that we talked about, Vedeshu, Yagneshu, Tapassu, Chaiva, Daneshu, what it can give us, the most, what it can give us, Swarga. So it says, Prapta Punya Kritam Lokan Ushitva Shashvati Samaha. Bhagavad Gita itself says, the punya that you acquire, you can go to Swargaloka, you can enjoy there. And then, Kshine Punya Martalokam Vishanti. So this punya that is being talked about in this verse is not the punya that actually gives us happiness. Then what is this punya that is being talking about? It says, Katham Bhagavatim Punya. This Bhagavatam, hearing or reciting, it gives us punya. What is this punya? Right? One other meaning of punya is purification or sacred. So, in that sense, this word is being used, right? Now, when we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, it purifies us. It makes us sacred. What is the meaning of purifying us? Because Bhagavatam gives us, as we discussed, these three things. First one is, it gives us Sambandha Gnana. It tells us who Krishna is. Then Prayojana Gnana. It tells, then Abhideya Gnana. Tells us how we should act. Then third one is prayojana, right? What if we act in that way, what we reap, what benefit we reap, all these things is given by Bhagavatam, right? Now, how we can use Bhagavatam to purify ourselves to act in this sense, right? Now, that information is given in Bhagavatam. That is what we have to capture. We shouldn't hear Bhagavatam to understand Dhruva Maharaj did tapasya and then he got Dhruva Loka. So I also want Dhruva Loka. What happens? Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. So even if you go to Brahma Loka, if you do not go back to spiritual world, then you have to come back once your pious credits get removed, get taken out, just like bank account, right? My balance I'm spending that I've earned. Once this balance is zero, then I cannot take the balance anymore, right? So that is not the purpose. What we have to derive when we read Srimad Dhruva Maharaj Charitra, right? What we have to derive, we have to think how I can purify myself so that I can actually connect with Krishna in a way that I understand Krishna's original position, right? So this is where our dharma gets refined. The purification that we have to go through, that purification, if we go through with Bhagavatam stories, with the activities of Krishna, it will establish us in our original constitutional position, which is what? That I am the Jivatma, I am not this body. Just like if water is impure, right? We run it through a filter. Why? Once it runs through the filter, what comes out is in its original pure form, right? That is the purpose of purification, right? So this Bhagavatam is that filter for us. So we have these impurities. Those impurities, when we apply it through Bhagavatam filter, the end result is we get established in our spiritual position. This is the purpose of the filter, the purification. So the best way to use Bhagavatam is to understand our position. So the dharma of a living being, living entity, Jiver Swarupai, Krishna Natyadas. So this is established by Bhagavatam. Now, if we understand these things, one very important, one very pertinent example I can think of is how we can act to purify ourselves. Say, the definition of our relationship with Krishna is already given. What is our dharma? Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshajen. So that is our dharma. We have to act according to that dharma. We have to engage ourselves in bhakti relationship, right? Now, how do I act in that relationship? What actually should be my behavior? How do I act, right? Now, if I act in that way, that purifies me, right? How do I perform bhakti to Krishna? The definition of bhakti in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami quotes this. He says, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. Right? Now we all have the Rishikas, Indriyas. Through these Indriyas, we have to act in a way to actually establish our relationship of I am your servant with Krishna, right? But in our conditioned position, what is happening? What is the impurity that we have? Impurity that we have is I cannot understand who Krishna is, what his position is. I am trying to enjoy myself because I think I am the ultimate enjoyer. This is the impurity that we have. The impurity is what? That I am thinking I am the enjoyer. Because of that, I am doing everything for my sense gratification, right? Now, if we use Bhagavatam or the exemplary devotees, how they act, then we can purify ourselves through the purifier of Bhagavatam. How? Um, Going back to this definition, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam, Bhakti Ruchyate. How we have to use our senses to serve Krishna and establish bhakti. Adi Gadadhar Prabhu talked about this beautifully in the DT installation in Vani Prabhu's and Shikha Mataji's place. Mahaprabhu had this servant by name Govinda, and the service of this devotee Govinda was that in the afternoon after Mahaprabhu takes lunch, Mahaprabhu would lie down in his room in Jagannath Puri. And this devotee would keep massaging Mahaprabhu's feet till Mahaprabhu rests, and then he would get up, go have his prasadam. So that is the routine. Every day he would do this. So there is one day when Mahaprabhu actually is dancing so much, and then after that he is so tired, he takes prasadam, he lies down. When Mahaprabhu lies down, Mahaprabhu has his feet, actually is lying down on the doorsteps, so that half of his body is inside the room and half of his body is outside the room. Just across the door he is lying, and then his feet is inside the room. So Govinda, obviously he cannot step over Mahaprabhu, because we cannot step over somebody, right? But Govinda understands Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, right? How can he step over Supreme Lord? So he says, Mahaprabhu, just give me a little bit space. I want to go inside. Just little bit space. Mahaprabhu says, I'm too tired. I cannot move my body. So you do whatever you want. So what Govinda does, he takes his chadar, he puts it on Mahaprabhu's body, and he steps over Mahaprabhu, goes into the room, and then he starts massaging Mahaprabhu. And then Mahaprabhu sleeps. Now, the routine is, once Mahaprabhu sleeps, Govinda gets up, finishes his lunch, and then he comes back. Now, that day, Mahaprabhu wakes up and he sees Govinda still there, sitting at his feet, massaging, not gone to take his lunch. And Mahaprabhu gets very angry. He says, you're supposed to go eat. When you're done massaging, when I'm sleeping, why you didn't go? Govinda doesn't answer. But then Govinda is thinking inside the mind. What? Govinda thinks, when I crossed over because it was my service. My service was what? To massage Mahaprabhu's feet. In order to do that service, I crossed over because I wanted to please the Supreme Lord. And then, crossing over somebody's scriptures say it's not good, like you might incur sin. So Govinda is thinking, even for that, if I incur sin and then go to hell, it's okay. Why? Because it is my service to the Supreme Lord. But then, once Mahaprabhu slept, he didn't want to again cross and then go back and then have his prasadam. Why? Why?
His own satisfaction.
Right, yeah. So, Govinda is thinking in his mind, he didn't speak it out loudly, that for me, I can do anything to satisfy your senses because you're the Supreme Lord. But then, if I have to go eat, it is satisfying my senses, right? For that, I do not want to cross over. I do not want to step over you. That becomes aparad. I do not want to do anything to gratify my senses. So this is Rishikena Rishikesha Sevana. This is actually how we can use our senses. We have to use our senses to please Krishna. That is what Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us, right? Now this is purification. This is punyam, right? Now without this, we do not understand how to act. If we act for our own sense gratification, which is what is happening in our conditioned state. In our conditioned state, why there is so much violence, why there is so much of cheating, why there is so much of struggle in this material world? Because everyone is only acting for his own sense gratification without really understanding the real purpose behind our existence, right? Now, if we understand this, that real pleasure is in pleasing the senses of Krishna, not in pleasing my senses. That is bhakti. Rishikena, Rishikesha Sevanam, bhakti. Right? Now, the same was done in Bhagavatam. Whether it is Mother Kunti, whether it is Prahlad Maharaj, whether it is Dhruv Maharaj, whether it is Amrish Maharaj. So Mother Kunti we can see. Mother Kunti is saying, this is the war has ended. The 18 days of Kurukshetra war ended, and then Pandavas were victorious. It isn't even like Pandavas got defeated and then they don't have anything. They've lost everything. Pandavas were victorious. They regained their kingdom, the opulent kingdom. And what does Maharani Kunti say? She says, when she sees Krishna, Vipada Santu Ta Shashvat, she says, Vipadaha, let there be calamities. Why? Because I don't want to use this body, use this senses for my own enjoyment. What is my real enjoyment? She's saying, let there be calamities. Why? When there is calamities, like we've seen, Krishna comes to protect Pandavas whenever there is calamities. Whether it is Agnatavasa, whether it was like, when they were small children, Duryodhana planned to burn them in the Lakshagriha, whether Bhima was killed, tried to kill by poisoning him. Krishna was there. Mother Draupadi's test, right, where she was being disturbed, Krishna was there, right? So Mother Kunti is saying, Vipadaha Santuta Shashvat. Why? Tatra Tatra Jagatpate Bhavatad Darshanam. She says, Tatra Tatra, there and then, Jagatpate, you are the supreme controller. Bhavatad Darshanam. I get to see you. Why? Because I'm not living here for my own sense gratification. I want to serve you, right? When I see you, I remember my original constitutional position. Then what happens? Mother Kunti is saying, Bhavata Darshanam, then Apunar Bhava Darshanam. When I take your darshan, I get to remind myself who I am, what is my position, why am I here. When I remember that, then I do not come back to this material world. Why? Because I can go back to the spiritual world, right? So this is what Bhagavatam tells us. This is the purification that it is giving us. It is purifying us to our original constitutional position, taking away our impurities of wanting to enjoy for ourselves, right? We are all struggling because we are enjoying for our own self, not counting for our real purpose, not really wanting to, make our life in a way, set it up in a way that helps us live our real purpose, right? Whether it is Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj, all through his life, you could see Nrsingadev, Lord Vishnu was there to protect him. Whether he was thrown from the cliff, whether he was being trampled by elephants, whether he was being pierced by the sharp weapons, Krishna protected, Vishnu protected. Now, when Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad Maharaj, is your Vishnu here? You are saying he is everywhere. Prahlad Maharaj said, yes. Even that word, Prahlad Maharaj's word, Vishnu proved. He appeared as Narasingha, right? Now Nrsingadev killed Hiranyakashipu. Now Prahlad Maharaj could have been very proud. See, I'm a great devotee. Because of me, Nrsingadev came. Sense gratification, right? The pride, he could have fed his pride. But then when Nrsingadev in the end asked Prahlad Maharaj, I'm pleased with your devotional service. Ask me a boon. What did Prahlad Maharaj do? He could have asked anything. But Prahlad Maharaj said, please give me a boon so that I do not get a desire to ask anyone for anything. That is what Prahlad Maharaj asked. Why? Because I'm totally dependent on you. I've understood your position as protector. I've understood my position as a servant. I'm totally dependent on you. However you treat me, I'm willing to take that position. I do not want anything but you. So this is what Bhagavatam tells us. This is the purity that Bhagavatam gives. Now our life should be like that. We should not ask for anything but Krishna. We should not ask those things that belong to Krishna, but we ask only that we only ask for Krishna, right? There's just one other story where somebody was a king was asking some person, what do you want? Tell me anything, I'll give you whatever you want, right? And this person was smart, like he was living in a remote place, in a village, very far off place. And then, he didn't have anything. But then he was very smart. He said, I don't want anything. I want you to come and live with me for 1 day. That's all I want. So then what happened? For a king to want to go live with a poor person, he cannot go and live in a very shabby place, right? So they had to construct a really good, well, palatial place for him. King went to go for the king to go. Obviously, there has to be infrastructure. The infrastructure came. So then king stayed with him. So he got everything which he didn't even ask, because he wanted only king, because his love for king was genuine. He wanted only king. He didn't want anything. But what happened? The byproduct, everything came. It's the same story. So if we ask what belongs to Krishna, whether it is material, whether it is something that gives us our own sense gratification, that is not going to get us to our prayojana. If we want Krishna, all these things actually come automatically. But somebody that wants Krishna genuinely, they do not ask Krishna for Krishna to get all these things. For all these things, they become immaterial because he has gotten already Krishna. He has gotten something that is highest. Everything else, even though it comes, it's immaterial. It doesn't matter to the devotee. So that is what the purity that we get by Srimad Bhagavatam. That is the punya. The stories in Srimad Bhagavatam, the katham that are there, that purify us so that we can ask only for Krishna, nothing else. And that should be our motto in life. That's what Bhagavatam gives us. So it's 7:28. Let's have some reflections, and if somebody has any questions, we can take them.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, very nice lecture today. My reflection for today would be how the Srimad Bhagavatam acts as a filter that purifies and helps us attain enlightenment and follow the true intentions of Lord Krishna, and to help us direct our senses instead of serving our own sense gratification, to serve the gratification of Lord Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, it's a very nice session. Supreme Lord is the source of everything. Srimad Bhagavatam telling us, teaching us that how we can relate ourselves to Lord Krishna and go back to Godhead. And to do that, once we learn here Srimad Bhagavatam and how we purify ourselves and turn ourselves into, qualified to go back to Godhead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. It was very nice lecture, and we are very glad that we get lot of things from you, and you keep repeating everything. In today's lecture, it reminds me that Bhagavatam is the source of taking out all our impurities from us. And Bhagavatam is real good filter, so we have to keep reminding ourselves and try to get more and more attached to Bhagavatam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for a wonderful class. There's lots of things you are already giving this today. Exactly what is the Bhagavatam, and you already asked for this. Bhagavatam is the teaching us the pure bhakti, especially for filtering all this, what Prabhu said, and also who is the supreme enjoyer and who is our constitutional position in the servant. This is the established in the Srimad Bhagavatam. But see, everything is this is the main thing, who we are. Like our constitution, if we understand this thing, then we understand the Supreme Lord Krishna, and we have to always serve him as the Krishna. He is the powerful. This is the thing. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Ruchi. Yeah, I think I remember this other shloka, which is very relevant. Shrunvatam swakatha Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridayantastoi abhadrani. This is what we are talking about. The impurities from our lifetimes, millions of lifetimes of conditioning. They are in our heart. Hridayantasto hi abhadrani. Abhadrani, all these impurities are there, like deeply ingrained. Now, only by hearing Krishna's pastimes. How? When we are hearing Krishna's pastimes, his interactions with devotees' interactions with Krishna, then we come to understand, how we should interact with Krishna, what we should expect from Krishna. So then we refine our asks of Krishna. Then we actually are getting on that path, right? Now, there is another verse which talks about this. When we constantly hear about Srimad Bhagavatam, what we are doing, our intent is to remember Krishna always. That is what should actually become our intent. So it says, Yad Anudhya Asina Yukta. Yad Anudhya. Anudhya, dhya means the remembrance of Krishna. Asina is the sword. So this is the sword, the remembrance of Krishna. When we hear Bhagavatam constantly, we only remember Krishna, his devotees, his interaction, right? So that becomes our sword. For what? What do we use that sword of remembrance of Krishna? It says, Yad Anudhya Asina Krishna, Karma Granthi Nibandhanam. This Karma Granthi, like we have billions of lifetimes, we have acquired some karma, good or bad, right? They are in our heart. Now, some of us are here. Why? Because somehow there is some pious credits that has brought us here. But there are many people, Krishna Katha doesn't have any impact, doesn't evince any love, right? Why? Because that karma hasn't really melted down. Krishna says this in Bhagavad Gita also. What is this verse? Yet antagatam papam jananam punya karmana. So if one's papa hasn't come to a level, then they cannot actually worship Krishna. They cannot actually come to Krishna, right? So we are here because somehow we have that qualification, right? But still those karma granthi, like it's these are the knots in the heart, right? That is why we get attracted to so many other things. We are not having pure attraction to Krishna, right? Those knots are pulling us. Just like if we have bound ourselves to something, we cannot go too far. Those things are pulling us. So we have to cut those knots, right? Nibandhanam. How we can cut that? Anudhya Asina. By Krishna's memory, we can cut that. How? No matter what situation we are in, if we remember Krishna is my goal, I only want Krishna, then we actually can advance towards Krishna. Everything else actually becomes, set in the background. So that happens by Srimad Bhagavatam's association.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the wonderful class. So, we learned about the importance of Srimad Bhagavatam here, and by listening to Srimad Bhagavatam Kathas, our impurities will be made removed. So we can purify ourselves, we know our relationship with Krishna and who he is and everything, and you have to hear from the exemplary devotees. And I like the example of which Adhikara Prabhuji said about Govinda's only pleased Supreme when it did not give importance to senses. For sense gratification, but just use the senses to please him to them. That will continue the others also. We have to learn from them. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, nice class. Bhagavad Gita, you just explained so many things. Why you need what teaches us Bhagavad Gita. And my reflection is Bhagavad Gita teaches us how I am, how is Supreme Personality, what is the relation between the me to like Supreme Personality, like God. What we are like, I am Jivatma, so I am soul, and Lord, Supreme Lord is like Lord Krishna, and He is the source of all everything, and we have to add a relationship with Lord Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, nicely explained. And today's I learned about Bhagavatam. Uh, Understanding, listening, and remembering everything in Bhagavatam, whatever uh, we can learn about our original position. What like we are Jivatma. We are not. Uh, we are Jivatma. We are not body, right? And like I can explain that, but we learned about like our Krishna is like a supreme, and we are he is the source of everything.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So today's what I understand from today's lecture, although the quote was very simple, it just it gives the importance like what is Srimad, but actually it has a deeper meaning. What I understand is that the various examples that you give through the example of that Govindas and this the king, it was simple, but that narrates like what kind of love or what kind of devotion you have towards the Lord Krishna. You aspire for him, he will give you everything. So that is what was the what I liked about this. And second thing, like who I am, who he is, and what is the relationship between. That is something deeper. We have to go understand that more and more. I think upcoming lectures will also give me more idea on that. So that is what I have in today's takeaway. Hare
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. It was nice lecture. So as you described, like how our karma will act in the form of like vacha manasa, as you when we are in the deep sleep or like awake form, dream form. Sorry. So that way our karma will act. Also, the how to remove the impurities in our in our body by using like Srimad Bhagavatam as a filter and to purify ourselves and to get like a spiritual prong with attached to the Krishna. That's things are important to take away from this. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, nice class Prabhuji. Like we all get contaminated in this material world, and we have to follow the Srimad Bhagavatam to purify ourselves, to act like a filter, all our contaminations, and try to understand our absolute constitutional position. Also, I like the example which you gave me, Madhava and Sita. Same time, I was thinking, there's a on Krishna Leela, right? When he acts like he's having a headache, and everyone asks what can they do. So he finally asks like, I need to have dust on the feet of a devotee, and then everyone they don't want to do because she's Supreme Lord, and without any hesitation, simply Radharani takes the dust of her feet and then applies, and then he was satisfied. I remember that.
Yeah. Thank you, Guruji. Yeah, all the gopis, they do not really care for their own self because their whole purpose is we want to serve Krishna rather than serving our own senses. So it means the love that they have for Krishna. It's an exemplary scenario where Krishna himself says to Uddhava that gopis are the highest of the devotees. Because of this is the example that is given. Because one who has understood their constitutional position, they act in that way because of the love that they have. Thank you, Krishna.
Online, there are a couple of devotees. Please unmute.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hi, Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisance out to Srila Prabhupada. Very nice lecture, Prabhuji. And today my reflection is like in the translation where it says Bhagavatam Punyam, like the pious message of Srimad Bhagavatam, and then as usual, like how you connect us from the beginning, and then what is it that related intrinsic message from this shloka. So mainly like what is the pious message, the punyam, right? So that is I like the way how you said two analogies, Prabhuji. The poor man asked for the king. So truly we see, we don't have to think like, oh, I need this material thing, but if you ask for the main thing, then Krishna will arrange, because that's a very it's first time I'm hearing that kind of analogy. And like we need to ask what Krishna has, that is how the purity. That was one thing. And Prahlad Maharaj and Kunti Rani also, like they didn't ask for themselves so that they can enjoy, how they can enjoy their senses. So ultimately, that is the message that comes. And then two other key points, like how you said um, that in the beginning, you said one analogy, like a person says, you said somebody told, okay, Krishna is in the spiritual world, he's happy, and I'm happy in my material world. That means that Gnana, they didn't understand their purpose of their life. They are thinking, I'm here and I want to enjoy. So, whereas Bhagavatam will teach us that is not what it is. You should know your true, the purpose of your life. So, I think that's how you connected. And I have one question, Prabhuji, whenever I can ask.
Murli Prabhu. Okay, so you can ask. Mataji, go ahead.
Prabhuji. Prabhuji, when you said Prahlad Maharaj said he didn't ask for himself, right? Which is good. So then you also said that we should not actually ask for ourselves, but we should ask for Krishna. But then in this material world, practically, we all run into so many difficulties. I don't know, it is natural that we ask for Krishna. Krishna, oh, like, whatever, my kid is sick, or that pain, this pain. That means a pure realized soul will not ask for anything. They'll just say, is that the message that what you were trying to tell when you said about Prahlad Maharaj?
Yeah, good question, Mataji. So the question is, we understand Krishna as God. Should we ask Krishna for anything, or we should not ask Krishna for we should not even ask Krishna for anything, right? So the answer is, yeah, Prahlad Maharaj is on a very elevated transcendental platform. So we cannot imitate Prahlad Maharaj because we are not there in that elevated platform. What Srila Madhvacharya says exactly regarding this is, anything that is spiritually beneficial, we can ask Krishna. Because just like, if we have our needs, we have our wants. Who do we ask when we are small? We ask our mother. Just like we ourselves are not independent, just like 3 year, 4-year-old baby. The baby is not independent. So what does the baby do? It depends on mother for everything, and mother knows what to give, what not to give, what is beneficial, mother will give. So anything that is spiritually beneficial to us, we should ask Krishna, because akamo sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradhi. So Krishna can be asked. Depends on what we ask. What we ask is what what we ask depends on how advanced we are, how we see Krishna, and our relationship. So there are devotees that keep asking Krishna anything that's spiritual. We are entitled to ask, because that is our relationship with Krishna. Is that okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. So that means whatever we ask, it depends on how advanced we are we asking for spiritual, like, are we asking for our selfish everything? Uh, Something you said at the end, Prabhuji, I didn't get the last part.
Yeah, there's this verse in Bhagavatam, it says, Akamo sarvakamoha, moksha kama udarati. So sarvakama, whatever desires we have as um, devotees also, if we are not at the same level as Prahlad Maharaj, then we can ask Krishna anything, for anything we can ask Krishna. As we advance, we will tend to then ask Krishna only for those things that are spiritually beneficial to us. We won't ask for anything that is material. But as devotees, it's better to ask Krishna anything that we want. There is no restriction.
One thing might be there is one Onna Vilashita Shilon, something like this. This is also related to this question.
Right. Anyabhilashita shunyam gnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktir uttama. So whatever is anukulyena, Krishna anushilam, so whatever is beneficial for us to go to Krishna, to reach Krishna, which is our end goal, for that purpose, whatever is required, we can ask Krishna. This is again, a Uttamadhikari, but then if we are not at that stage, we still can ask Krishna anything. Instead of asking, either we ask Krishna or we ask somebody else. It could be somebody else, or some other demigods, right? So it's better to ask Krishna rather than going to any other demigods. And then Krishna actually, depending on what our um, relationship with Krishna is and what we deserve, he makes it happen through through a via medium. Is that okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you. So we don't need to feel guilty, but it all depends on what we are asking and the reason, the purpose we are asking for.
Right. Yeah. We
And
don't have to feel guilty to ask Krishna anything. He's our mother.
right, Prabhuji.
We can ask him to give, make me Elon Musk. Yeah, that's fine.
No. And Prabhuji, you mentioned one more, Antagata Papam, right? That though everybody, I mean, only when all the karma is gone, then only we will even get a chance to know the purpose of God and Bhagavatam. You mentioned that, right, Prabhuji?
Right, Mataji. Yeah.
Yeah. So that means, Prabhuji, if we come across, when, let's say, we are trying to tell somebody, it could be a friend or a family member or, some as a well-wisher, and when you see that, okay, they're not getting it, then that means that relates to this shloka, what you just said, Antagata Papam. But what should be our reaction and thought? Should we get agitated or should we just, okay, we leave it? But how to take that practically, Prabhuji?
So there was says Esham tu antagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam drudavrataha. It says drudavrataha. Druda means fixed, not fixed, so much fixed that they're convinced beyond any doubt that Krishna is the supreme and Krishna is the eternal protector, just like Prahlad Maharaj, Maharani, Kunti Maharani. So for these people, antagatam papam, for them the papa has actually become zero, right? Now they can Dhradavrata, worship Krishna with all faith and fixed in Krishna's worship, right? Now, when it comes to people who have papa, just like one example is if you want to mix water and oil or oil in water, they keep their separate existence, they do not mix. Similarly, the ones that have papa, it's very difficult for them to understand that God exists, that God is a controller, that there is a purpose for us beyond this God. Atheists, right? A purpose beyond our just sense gratification. So this is how atheists live, right? For them, somehow Krishna is merciful. Some point of time, he is expecting them to turn towards them. That will happen. But then if we have some people that we are talking to and then we think that they are not taking to Krishna consciousness or they're not turning towards Krishna, what should we do? We should continue to actually speak whenever there is an opportunity, and if we understand, if we see that they're interested. If they're not interested, then we should not actually speak. But if we see some interest, if there is an opportunity, we should continue to speak, because we do not know what is blocking them. We do not have that vision. Whereas there are devotees that actually can see their karma, and then they can see where to stop, when to stop, and not to really go any further. But for us, as devotees, we should continue to do whatever we can do to talk about Krishna. Prabhu's instruction was, Yare Deka Tareta Kaha Krishna Upadesh. So we should continue, provided they have some interest. If they are blaspheming, if they are not really interested, then we should not even endeavor.
Got it. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very nice. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. It's a wonderful session. So, what I understood is that the whole topic started with Shaunakadi rishis. They're going to glorify now Sutta Goswami. So, it is very easy to say that we have to glorify Krishna, we have to please Krishna, but it's very difficult at the same time, because we tend to forget in our day-to-day life activities. When whatever activities we do, I can't say sorry we, I can say me. Whatever activities I do, I always tend to forget. At every step, in fact, we have to glorify Krishna, or thank Krishna, or please Him, and make sure that whatever activities I do, two people in this world are pleased. One is my Guru Maharaj, and other one is the spirit Krishna. So it is very difficult to maintain that tempo in all of my activities. So that I need to practice. So the best way in general is to get away from our misgivings, all the anarthas. The very best way, what I understood and experienced in my life, is just glorify others. Not Tom, Dick and Harry I'm talking about a pure Vaishnava or Vaishnavas. Around here we have congregation. So the best way to get away from anarthas is to glorify others. So whenever I get a chance, I have to practice to glorify others so that my anarthas get over. So slowly that can be percolated to Lord Krishna also eventually. Vaishnavas, greater Vaishnavas, and then finally it will be Krishna. So I can please Krishna. So that is what I understood, how to please him. Thank you. Nice.
Yeah. Thank you, Bhakta Singha Prabhu. Nice point. The whole purpose is Ante Narayana Smritihi. We have to remember that, right? So Srimad Bhagavatam is also, the whole purpose is to remember Krishna. Yad anudhyasina yukta karma granthi nibandhanam chindanti. It says all our karma, they get cut off, chindanti. And then it says Kovidas tasya kona kuryat katharatin. So Krishna's katha is so attractive. If we constantly hear, our heart gets attracted. This is how gopis were so much attracted. The whole lila about gopis is the stealing of butter. Krishna is stealing butter because Krishna is not in want of butter. Everything belongs to him. Why Krishna is stealing butter? To indicate us that gopis were ready. Their hearts were like butter sweet, like melted. That is how their hearts are. And that heart became melted like that because they were constantly engaged in talking about Krishna. They were only dreaming, breathing, talking about Krishna all the time in their entire life, and that is why they were Anudhya Asina. And that is the power of Krishna Katha. So, yeah, very apt remembrance. So we have to, this is our goal. The goal is Smartavyaha Satatam Vishnu. So we should continue. Mataji has something, reflection. Yeah. You have anything with it?
Hi Krishna Prabhu. It was very nice class. I really liked uh, when you mentioned that the Bhagavatam is like filter. So we will be like, if we get into Bhagavatam, then we will come out like uh, pure. The purity will come by seeing all the characters and what they do in their life. By seeing that, we will be purified too.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Anybody else?
I have a question. I can start or someone else?
Yes, Prabhu.
So is it like students look like there is a mention for the punya karma, but there is like I know that the 10th offenses is the number 8. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra we cannot like realize this is a like Vedic karma kanda is a fruitic like the punya karma. We do not. But is my understanding? I'm not sure if it's maybe I'm fault like I'm just right or wrong. Hare Krishna Mahamantra and the Bhagavatam is almost same thing. Because this is also is a Krishna, is a Nam Prabhu is also Krishna, same is a all not non-different. Then what is the different Prabhuji for this Punya Karma like the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and the Bhagavatam? Then why this called the Punya Karma? Also that 8 numbers of instance they said no, we are not considered as a Punya Karma as a Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Can you please explain this later?
So there is Sakama Karma and Nishkama Karma. So Sakama is we are acting to get something that is as per the scriptural injunctions. Good. So these are again we are following the scriptural rules, but then we also have some desires because we are not pure devotees. That is Sakama. Then Bhakti, our chanting of the holy names and Srimad Bhagavatam, that is at the level of Nishkama Karma. Nishkama is Anukulena Krishnanushilanam. So we only do it for Krishna's satisfaction. It's not for our karma. It is not for our satisfaction, our sense gratification. So that becomes Nishkama Karma. So anything that is Nishkama doesn't give us Punya. Only Sakama Karma can give us Punya. Nishkama Karma doesn't give us Punya also. No Papa is also there. So this comes under the category of Nishkama Karma.
Yeah, but like the Punya Karma especially like there is a like Pap and Punna. Also the Prabhupada mentioned I heard something like so then the Punya Karma is always like whenever you going to the upper planet is going to be destroyed sometime and coming back to this world. But Hare Krishna Mahamantra is always divine. It's very like it's eternal. Then how do the Bhagavatam is mentioned as a Punya? That's why I'm confusing.
Yeah, this Punya, the interpretation is it is not Sakama Punya, it's Nishkama Punya. And that is why the Punya's interpretation here is, it's pious, but it is for purification. And Punya also, sacred or purity is the other two meanings of Punya.
Okay, but now I understand. Thank you, bro.
This has to be taken in that context.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Is anyone else question anything?
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai,
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai, Vajakalpa Sarvesha Kripa Sindhu Vyasha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo.
So we'll go over Srila Prabhupada's quote for the week. WhatsApp pillow.
Just trying to get to that.
Prabhupada quotes in the very
give you
For what?
for Mukta Sangha Prabhu. She said, give this to Mukta Sangha Prabhu.
For what? Why?
I don't know why.
Go and ask her why.
Okay. Take this first.
Why? This is small note, get big one. Okay, Bensalem group level.
Bensalem group, but you have to scroll a lot.
Scroll up.
You have those Prabhupada quotes?
Prabhupada quotes. There is a WhatsApp group, Prabhupada quotes. You are in that? No, you are not in that.
No, I have, but I have the whole thing in there.
Ashok,
I'm not sure I can do it.
No, you have to scroll everything. So.
Yeah, I have.
ನೀವು ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಪ್ರಭು Prabhupada quotes ಅಲ್ಲಿ?
I'm not in that.
Okay, anyway, sir.
I usually go to that garland, but you haven't said anything with the garland.
Okay, I'm going to read.
Yes, starting 6.
Uh, 16th of March. Everyone is being controlled by God, but a devotee is so exalted that Krishna says, I wish to be controlled by you. This is Krishna's position. March 17th. A pure devotee always thinks himself as non-devotee. If one thinks he is big devotee, that is not good. Thinking that he is first degree, we should not be puffed up. A devotee avoids it, remaining always in the second degree. Krishna has given everyone something extraordinary, and to serve Krishna with one's extraordinary talent means successful life. March 18th. In the material world, we want to minimize our activities and take rest more. But in the spiritual world, there is no rest and there is no limit of activities. Krishna is unlimited, his service is unlimited, and his energy of his servants is unlimited. Although we are in the midst of ignorance, still, if we keep ourselves alert, there is no place of ignorance. March 19. We act according to our whims, and the resultant action is there immediately. Nature's law, God's law is there. It is not God's creation that somebody is suffering from some painful condition and somebody is enjoying. No. We infect ourselves with some contamination because this material world is full of contamination. You must remain very cautious, otherwise you will have to suffer. March 20. Depend on Krishna, because after all, he is the ultimate master of all situations. It is not the doctor or the medicine or the place, but it's ultimately Krishna who's the master to do everything. March 21st. Krishna is joyful. I am part and parcel of Krishna, therefore I must be always joyful. This is natural. If my father is black, and then I am also black. So my father, the Supreme Father Krishna, is joyful. He is not engaged in some industrial work or heavy machine making. He is simply playing his flute and Radharani is there. This is joyful nature. March 22. We can ask favor for anyone, but we must know that nobody can favor us unless sanctioned by the Supreme Person. Suppose we approach a rich man to favor us with some contribution. Krishna is there within, and if he says, you give him this money, the man will give us. If he is not so fortunate, now, therefore, Krishna did not dictate him. So there is nothing to be sorry. This should be our principle. Kids,
recitation. Come on, Arnav. Anyone come? Dehi knows me.
Okay.
धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेत युयुत्सव मामक पाण्डवश्चैव किमु कुर्वत सञ्जय.
Very good. You want to do one more? One more? Do one more.
धृतराष्ट्र उवाच धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुयुत्सव मामका पाण्डवश्चैव किं कुर्वत सञ्जय.
Here. Okay. Yeah. Done it. What to do?
Lakshmipati, Hare Krishna.
Lakshmipati, tell us what Mama to say. Very good. Very nice. Nice, good attempt. Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmane Vaishnave Svalpa Punyavatam Rajan Vishwaso Naiva Jayate Sharira Vidyaja Jadendriya Tahekal Jiva Fele Vishya Sagare Tara Madhya Jivahati Lobhomai Sudurmati Take Jita Katina Samsare Krishna Barodayamai Koribar Jivajai Swaprasada Nadilobai Heya Namritapao Radha Krishna Gunagao Premada Kochetaninitai Jaini Mai Jainitai Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Radha Krishna Mahaprasadam ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you everyone. Thank you online devotees. Hari Bol.